And welcome to the Bruce channel. I'm Bruce, and we've got a few items of a different sort today, so we will dive right in. This, just a quick reminder, this is in preparation for a film role next month. All right. If I were to mention the weather, that wouldn't be that different, but wow, starting a week ago Friday, it started to rain, and by Tuesday, folks around here were talking about cubits, as if we needed to know more about cubits and arcs. And it wasn't spring tornadoes or anything like that, but 5, 6, in some places 7 inches of rain just over a couple of days. So the ground was completely sodden. Rivers overran their banks. Roads were closed. Lots of folks lost their electricity because, when the ground is sodden and the wind blows, and especially if the trees are leafed out, they fall down onto electric lines. And, some folks I know nearly had to evacuate. It was Wednesday morning at 11:26 a.m. when I saw the sun again. I marked it. Wow, look, the sun. The storm itself wasn't tropical, but it was big as though it were tropical. And then it left here and it moved up to the northeast, and then they got stuff. So, all right, I have heard of Tinder. I've never used it, but I've heard of it. See a pic, swipe left, you hook up. Swipe right, you look at somebody else's profile, or vice versa. I've also heard of, I think it's Grindr, I think it's the same thing, but for gay guys. I've also heard of J-Swipe, which is for Jewish girls and guys to get into swiping left or right. Now, back to Tinder. It has a new member. No joke. Tinder's new member, according to Matt David, who is Tinder's head of communications. This is the most eligible bachelor in the world. His name is Sudan. His profile reads, I perform well under pressure. I like to eat grass and chill in the mud. I'm 6 feet tall, and if it matters, 5,000 pounds. Seriously. This is the last male northern white rhinoceros on the planet. His name is Sudan, and to protect him from poachers, he has 24/7 armed guards, and his horn has been just about ground off because that's what the poachers want, so maybe they removed the temptation. The profile also says, hey, the fate of my species literally depends on me. Yeah, him. And there are 2 other living white northern rhinos. They're both ladies, and so far, no progeny. So the plan now is to try in vitro. So if you go to Tinder and you swipe to Sudan, and you can get to a site and donate. I know, somebody's always got their hand out. Haiti's got an earthquake. Japan's got an earthquake and a tidal wave. Syrian refugees. The local United Way. The local homeless shelter. The local animal shelter. The National Animal Welfare Society. Yeah, I know. But if you're inclined to at least find out more, Google Sudan, the rhino, go to Tinder. All right, so there is a story bouncing around trying to go viral. I don't know of this sandwich shop, but it's called Jimmy John's. It's a national chain. And what's going around is there's a national call for a boycott of Jimmy John's. The story is essentially this, that Jimmy John's founder, Jimmy John Leotard. Anyway, he goes hunting, not just hunting. Remember Cecil, the lion whom the dentist shot 2 years ago? That kind of hunting. And there's pictures of this guy with his victims, rhinos, elephants, bears. I checked Snopes, and it appears to be valid. In my opinion, endangered species ought to be protected, not hunted. As with Sudan, efforts, to help their populations grow, not diminish. A few weeks ago, I described what I thought of Josephus of Jerusalem, the idea to let the dog pull the mandrake out of the ground and thus let the dog succumb to the shrieks of the mandrake. Only I'm not sure that any dog actually did die from any shrieking mandrake. So there's probably some deliberate hypocrisy within many of us. I include myself. I eat beef. I eat pork. I guess I turn a blind eye to the fact that they're slaughtered. I guess I convince myself that they don't suffer. Strikes me as fanciful, but not impossible, let's say. A corn stalk feels pain when we pull off an ear, or that carrots shriek when we pull them up like mandrakes. Not likely, I know. But there must be something terribly wrong, terribly flawed, in at least a percentage of us that sees the murder of a beautiful creature for no other purpose, not for food, for no other purpose than the joy of killing. Eating and hunting what you eat is one thing, but I think you have to be you must have low self-esteem, incredibly low self-esteem to need that kind of machismo show.
Hey, let me tell you about my book, Shrink. For most of my adult life, I weighed a little over 100 pounds, not much more than in this picture taken when I was about 17 and considering becoming a jockey. But as is often true, once I crossed into my 40s, extra weight came and it stayed. For years I tried to lose, instead gained, and ended up 153 pounds. And I'm embarrassed to show you this video. Then I learned that it isn't about calories and exercise, but instead it's about what you eat. You might say, sure, ice cream makes you fat. But there were surprises, things like orange juice not being such a wise choice if you're trying to lose weight. So I just made some basic changes to what I ate, not how much, and the weight just fell off. Now, nearly 3 years later, it is still off. And don't misunderstand, I'm eating foods I like, not bamboo shoots. Friends ask me how I did it so often, I put it in a book. It's available as an ebook for all platforms, and the print edition is available at barnesandnoble.com and amazon.com. Hey, you can shrink too.
All right, welcome back. Remember, you can write us at the Bruce Channel at yahoo.com and watch all our previous episodes at our Facebook page or at tinyurl.com/Bruce Channel. Okay, so it didn't make it to our show last week because of deadlines, and it might not have made it this week, except some updating. So last weekend, some learned on Saturday, some not till Sunday, that Erin Moran died on Saturday. She played Richie Cunningham's kid sister on the 70s sitcom Happy Days. All right. No one was saying much, but it sort of implied, sort of known, that if you had followed her, she and her husband had fallen on some tough times. And to be sure, the image of a TV and film star living in a mobile home isn't the first image that one might conjure. It was even rumored that there was drugs or alcohol. That's what Scott Baio, her former co-star, intimated. So in an open letter to him, Erin's husband shared some of the details. Turns out November last year, she had a spot of blood on her pillow when she awakened. December it happened again. They went to an ENT, ear, nose, throat, and he discovered squamous cell carcinoma. That's the kind of skin cancer usually caused by UV rays. And of course now we wear sunscreen, but we didn't always know we should wear sunscreen. She had radiation and chemo, and even so, by February she couldn't talk, eat, or drink. She had a permanent feeding tube, and her husband fed her several times a day. Friday, she had trouble breathing, and then Saturday, a week ago, she died. The cancer had spread throughout her entire body. No drugs, no alcohol. We all die. She died way too young. Okay, if it is a given that there are more worthy causes than most of us can keep up with, it's also true that there are those out there who are trying to pick your pocket. There are scams. I know that's not a headline. Now, I have no certain knowledge that this is one of them, but there are a lot of peculiar circumstances. Make me a little suspicious. So, we're now in the mowing season. My mower's battery is 4 years old, and it's not holding its charge. And, of course, over the years, I bought lots of car batteries, and for that matter, lawnmower batteries, and motorcycle batteries. Like anyone else, I'd like to save a buck. So this caught my eye at the very time of my need, and naturally I was interested. How could I recondition my batteries? And it says, with virtually any kind of battery, it's easy, anyone can learn to do it. Watch.
Today, I'm going to reveal to you the simple battery reconditioning resource that I've been using over the past year that has let me easily bring dead batteries back to life again, just like new. Over the past year, over 19,000 people have also already successfully used this to recondition their old batteries back to 100% of their original working condition again. This battery breakthrough is saving people hundreds of dollars a year and will save them thousands of dollars over their lifetime, because instead of buying overpriced batteries, people can now recondition and reuse their old batteries. Most people don't even know they can bring dead batteries back to life, let alone how simple and quick it is. A year ago, I was one of those people, until I discovered EZ Battery Reconditioning. It's the step-by-step system that anyone can use to recondition all kinds of old or dead batteries right from home. It's simple, quick, and absolutely anyone can use it, even if you know nothing about batteries, like me. Since I've been using EZ Battery Reconditioning, I've been able to recondition all kinds of dead batteries, from car batteries, power tool batteries, the motorcycle batteries, and many other types of common batteries. There are even places where I have been able to find free used batteries that I can recondition and use in my family's electronics, devices, and automobiles. Once I learned about some of the sources of free old batteries in the easy battery reconditioning, it's almost like I have an endless supply of free batteries. I even started reselling many of these, and it's providing an incredible side income already.
So wow, ordinary guy speaks very well for just an ordinary guy. Might be a paid actor, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Learning to do it, that's what it is. It's a course, so I could learn how to do it. That's what I would be buying, the course. And there's also the hint that, if you can make old batteries like new and you can find old and dead batteries, wow, part-time income. Woohoo! So how did this opportunity all begin for this guy? Let's go to the next clip.
Over the past year, I've gotten to know the co-creator of Easy Battery Reconditioning. His name is Tom Erickson. Tom's a family man with a wife and 3 children living right outside of Charleston, South Carolina. And the story of how he learned how to bring dead batteries back to life is fascinating and a little heartbreaking. It's been 7 years since Tom paid for a new battery. And in this short presentation, Tom will teach you about this simple and incredibly effective way of bringing dead batteries back to life again. So, without further ado, here's Tom.
Hi, my name is Tom Erickson, and in this short presentation, I'm going to reveal something to you that the big battery-making corporations don't want you to know. It's a secret that could cost them billions of dollars. Let me quickly introduce myself and tell you the strange way I discovered this incredible method that absolutely anyone can use, including you. Like I mentioned, my name is Tom Erickson, and I live right outside of Charleston, South Carolina, with my wife and 3 children. And it all started the day my wife anxiously whispered in my ear, "It's either food for the kids or this battery." We were in the mechanic shop and my car battery was completely dead. I was fuming and beyond stressed out. My car battery should have lasted another 2 years. My wife and I couldn't afford another brand new battery right now. We were already barely scraping by, and we needed the last $200 in our bank account for bills, and more importantly, to buy food to feed our children that week. 3 weeks prior, we spent $190 on another new battery for my wife's SUV, and that battery died after only a year and a half of use. We also had to replace my laptop battery, my wife's cell phone battery, a few AA and AAA batteries, even my drill battery, all in the same month. Now, I used to work for a golf cart company, and oftentimes would get in old used golf carts, and the batteries would be completely dead. So we'd have to take them out and replace them. And by the end of each month, we'd always have a huge collection of old dead batteries just lying around. But like clockwork, there used to be a man named Frank Thompson that would come by each month to collect the dead batteries. We used to call him the Battery Man.
So we have Tom Erickson, just an employee at a golf cart company. And he met Frank Thompson, man who would come in to collect the dead golf cart. And it turns out Frank was refurbishing the dead batteries and selling them for a good profit. Tom's interested. And they eventually partnered to write this book on easy battery reconditioning. Okay, so the ad then goes on for a limited time. I get my antenna go up anytime I can get an extra discount, but it's for a very limited time, Anyway, benefit of the doubt. Tom seems like a nice guy, looks like a nice guy. Maybe he's got a nice family. I feel a little better if they told me what golf course he worked at, so I could actually document some of the claims. But they don't tell you that. And they make it especially tough to give it any credibility. Maybe not even a shred of credibility. Why? Well, golly. All right. Tom's in Charleston, right? Somewhere in South Carolina. Tom's family is also in an ad for a London photographer and a California dentist. Oh, by golly, as far as I know, Tom and his family have not watched the Bruce Channel, but I could legally have them endorse the Bruce Channel. I just need to buy the rights to use the image from Shutterstock. So, yeah, I'll save hundreds of dollars and I'll even make money on the side selling reconditioned batteries. What is it they say about something that seems too good to be true? All right, one of the biggest weeks in sports has come and gone. That is the NFL draft. I won't dwell on it because if you are a fan, you already know what your favorite team or teams did. And if you're not a fan, you don't care. But even if you're not a fan, you might take pity on me. My Cleveland Browns won only one game last year. They might have lost that one. So for them, getting good players is really important. They're not going to do the Super Bowl this year. But it would be nice not to be the league's worst. And my defending champion Cleveland Cavaliers did clinch their first series in 4 straight. Now, you may or may not know this, but stock car racing was born in the Carolinas. Literally, the moonshiners souped up their stock cars to outrun the law. And then on Sunday, they'd match up each other's souped up stock cars by racing. That is how NASCAR began. I mentioned how in North Carolina, basketball is a religion. So is NASCAR. On Tuesday, Dale Earnhardt Jr. held a press conference to announce his retirement at the end of this season. The local stations cut away to cover it live. Okay, also in sports, did you see this? This was a fantastic play by Toronto's Craig Coughlin. Watch it.
Lar hits it high and deep to right. Piscotty back on the track at the wall. It's over his glove, off the wall. Coughlin is headed for third. They're going to wave him home. Here's the throw from Piscotty to home plate. And Molina didn't tag him. What a play by Coughlin. He jumped over Molina and landed squarely on home plate.
Wasn't that sensational? The home fans, the St. Louis fans, they weren't happy with the call, but replays clearly showed that he wasn't tagged. And it was pretty cool. And although you don't see that often, you can find other examples of that on YouTube. One of the best home plate plays I ever saw, I saw in person. I was the stadium organist for the Durham Bulls. And the Bulls player, Fernando Perez, take a look.
The situation. Off speed, swing and a miss. Perez is going to try to go to the plate. And now he did not. Oh, he got in there! He faked out the catcher and touched home plate. How about Fernando on that? Are you kidding me?
I saw that live and I was probably, 30 yards away from them. Unbelievable. All right, earlier this week was the big gala in Manhattan when for the 19th time in a row, Time magazine listed the 100 most influential individuals in the world. Not the most popular, not the smartest, not necessarily politicians or artists or anything in particular. Certainly there are those. There are artists like Alicia Keys and Ryan Reynolds and Tom Brady and LeBron James are those called titans. And so are Fed Chair Janet Yellen and Amazon's Jeff Bezos and leaders that are, world leaders. Chuck Schumer, Xi Jinping, Donald Trump, Elizabeth Warren, quite a diverse group. James Mattis, Melinda Gates. So, watch your newsstands. Oh, and lest you're wondering, it is also the 19th year in a row they didn't select me. All right, finally, this update. I mentioned my shock that the local newspaper didn't take the request to move the puzzle answers more seriously, and so in response to that, I wrote the managing editor, Stephen Doyle, a sincere and fairly detailed letter as to why it was important. Shock was then. There are no words strong enough to describe what I felt last week to discover they had done it again. They ignored my request, seemingly with utter disdain. So as I said, I called the paper Monday and I canceled, and I explained to the representative exactly why. She said she understood, she took copious notes, and then she offered me 2 free weeks just to see if we could resolve it in the meanwhile. In other words, let's continue to fight the good fight. So I agreed. Monday evening, I got a call. Caller identified himself as Stephen Doyle. And he wasn't sure why, but he had a note to call me. Well, I explained. I told him I was the guy who wrote the long letter and that I called that morning to cancel. You'd cancel over that? Well, not only that, frankly, the ignoring of the request seemed to real That seemed as disdain for the readers, you know. Well, he said, we're not going to move the solutions to another page. He said, and I don't understand this exactly, but there are production reasons and it cannot be done. But he also couldn't believe that this was important. But they're upside down. He also said he is a veteran puzzle player himself. And he asked what puzzle. Apparently didn't read because I said jumble. And that's when I think I figured out, okay, maybe this is why we're being blind to each other. If he plays, say, the crossword, well, yes, look here. They are upside down and they're numerous and they're small. Compare that to the jumble where they just pop out. So I asked, I don't accept that they cannot appear on another page, but for the sake of our conversation, let's assume that's true. Must they be adjacent? Can you move it to the opposite corner? Because if you can do that, I can avoid seeing it. So as I record this, once again, we'll see. Maybe he'll glance at the jumble and see how easily they pop out compared to the crosswords. We'll see. All right, so tomorrow is May Day, beginning the lusty month of May. May is also hamburger month and golf month and barbecue month. What's not to like, huh? And later this week comes Cinco de Mayo. That's on Friday. And the next day, I love this, World Naked Gardening Day. That's a real thing. Check it out. World Naked Gardening Day. WNGD.org. Hard not to like a week like this, you know? And then when you come in from your naked gardening, take a shower, make yourself a mint julep, because Saturday is also when they'll run the 143rd consecutive Kentucky Derby. So enjoy them all, and may your upcoming week be the best one you've ever had. That's at 143 consecutive years they've not invited me to the Kentucky Derby.